Hello, Ivy here. This week's podcast is entitled The British Monarchy is Crumbling. Episode 138. The British Monarchy, a symbol of tradition, power and national identity for centuries. Its presence is deeply woven into the fabric of British society. Its image emblazoned upon everything from currency to postage stamps. Beneath the veneer of opulence and ceremony, a question lingers. Is this venerable institution, once deemed unshakable, now teetering on the precipice of irrelevance? Is the UK monarchy, in the face of changing social values and mounting public scrutiny, slowly before our very eyes? This very question has become a subject of intense debate, dividing public opinion and igniting passionate discourse across the United Kingdom. While ardent monarchists cling to the notion of the crown as the vital thread in the nation's tapestry, a growing chorus of voices, particularly amongst the younger generations, view the institution as an anachronism, a relic of a bygone era. This podcast delves into the heart of this debate, embarking on a deep dive into the factors that have led to the perceived fragility of the British monarchy. We will dissect the historical context, examining both the enduring strength and inherent vulnerabilities that have defined the monarchy's long reign. Furthermore, we will scrutinise the current state of affairs, analysing recent events and their impact on public perception of the royal family. By exploring statistical trends in the public opinion and dissecting the motivations of both ardent supporters and fervent critics, you, write on the complex relationship between the monarchy and the people it purports to represent. The recent tour of Australia by the royal family exposed a shift in public sentiment. The visit, meant to reinforce ties, instead highlighted a growing disconnect. Lukewarm receptions and protests show the monarchy's grip is not absolute. Surveys revealed declining enthusiasm, especially among the young. Why does the UK cling to an institution rooted in history? The establishment has a vested interest in maintaining the status quo. Winds of change challenge hierarchies, demanding transparency and accountability. This podcast does not seek to offer a definitive answer regarding the fate of the UK monarchy. Instead, it aims to provide a framework for understanding the challenges confronting this ancient institution, and to explore the potential scenarios that may unfold in the years to come. By delving into historical precedents, analysing current trends, and considering a range of expert opinions, we hope to foster a nuanced and informed discussion on the future of the Crown. We will examine the potential consequences of various outcomes, from a gradual decline in relevance to a more dramatic and sudden collapse. What impact would the abolition of the monarchy have on the British psyche, its political system, and its standing on the world stage? What's left by the Crown, filled by a renewed sense of republicanism, or would it pave the way for alternative forms of leadership and national identity? Furthermore, we will broaden our scope to consider the global landscape, analysing the trajectories of other monarchies around the world. Are these institutions facing similar challenges, or are there unique factors at play in the UK, by drawing comparisons? And find common friends. We can gain a deeper understanding of the forces shaping the future of monarchies worldwide. This podcast serves as an invitation to engage in a critical and timely conversation about the role of tradition, heritage, and leadership in a rapidly changing world. It encourages readers to move beyond the simplistic binaries of pro-monarchy and anti-monarchy, and to grapple with the complexities of an institution at a crossroads. The British monarchy story is a tapestry of conquest, rebellion, and adaptation. In 1066, William the Conqueror claimed the English throne, altering history. Victory began. Norman rule, centralising the monarchy. The Magna Carta in the 13th century limited royal power. The Wars of the Roses weakened the monarchy. Henry VII's victory began the Tudor era. The Tudors, especially Henry VIII and Elizabeth the Furor, consolidated royal power. The Elizabethan era was followed by turmoil. With the Stuart dynasty accession in 16103, the Stuarts clashed with Parliament, leading to the English Civil War. Charles, the first resistance, led to his execution in 1649. The interregnum was short-lived. Interregnum meaning the normal role of government was suspended in between reigns. Cromwell's death in 1658 led to the monarchy's restoration in 1660. Tensions between the Crown and Parliament persist. Charles II balanced royalist and parliamentary factions. James II's Catholicism led to the Glorious Revolution of 1688. James was replaced by Mary and William of Orange. The Bill of Rights in 1689 limited royal power and guaranteed civil liberties. The 18th century witnessed the rise of the Hanoverian dynasty, a period marked by both political stability and significant social and economic transformation. The Act of Settlement in 1701 secured the Protestant succession and established the principle that the monarch could not be a Catholic or married to one, further solidifying the relationship between the Crown and Parliament. The Hanoverian monarchs, particularly George I and George II, were content to leave the day-to-day running of government to their ministers, ushering in an era of primary ministerial power. This gradual shift in power dynamics allowed the monarchy to weather the storms of the Industrial Revolution and the Napoleonic Wars, emerging from this period of upheaval as a symbol of national unity and continuity. The Victorian era, spanning the long reign of Queen Victoria from 1837 to 1901, witnessed the apex of British imperial power and the consolidation of the monitored image as a bastion of moral authority and nature. Victoria's reign saw the rise of a powerful middle class, expansion of the British Empire, and significant advances in science, technology, and social reform. The monarchy. And Victoria and her advisers skillfully adapted to these changing times, presenting itself as a symbol of progress and stability. The image of the royal family as a model of domestic virtue, epitomised by Victoria and her beloved husband, Prince Albert, resonated deeply with the Victorian public, further solidifying their affection for the crown. The 20th century presented the British monarchy with unprecedented challenges. The First and Second World Wars tested the resilience of the nation under George V, George VI, and Elizabeth II. The monarchy maintained morale, projecting strength and unity. However, post-war social shifts and scandals challenged this image. Scandals like Edward VIII's abdication and Charles and Diana's tumultuous marriage tarnished the royal family's image. Yet Elizabeth II's reign showed remarkable adaptation. Her dedication and modernisation efforts retained public respect. The monarchy's future depends on its ability to resolve and stay relevant. The House of Windsor, a modern monarchy grappling with traditional estates. Just in 1917, the House of Windsor balances its historical legacy with modern demands. The monarchy has modernised its image and streamlined operations. Queen Elizabeth II adapted to immense social and political changes. Yet it faces criticism for inequalities and relevance in a meritocratic society. Charles III's succession in 2022 began a new chapter. Charles aims to modernise the monarchy, focusing on climate change and social justice. The challenge is balancing tradition with evolution to remain a source of national pride. Echoes of the past. Learning from the decline of other monarchies, the British monarchy faces challenges similar to other monarchies worldwide. Historical declines, like the French Revolution and the Russian Empire's fall, highlight the dangers of ignoring public discontent and failing to adapt. Recent abolitions in Greece, Italy, and Nepal show a trend towards democratic governance. Key lessons include adapting to social values, addressing economic inequality, and maintaining public trust. By learning from past mistakes and embracing reform, the British monarchy can navigate modern challenges. The future depends on its ability to evolve and remain relevant. The survival of this ancient institution hinges on its adaptability. The House of Windsor. Change, a tumultuous period for the Crown. The British monarchy is navigating unprecedented turbulence. Queen Elizabeth II's death in 2022 marked the end of an era, leading to uncertainty. King Charles III's accession has received mixed reactions. His views on climate change and social justice have drawn both admiration and criticism. Recent scandals have tarnished the royal family's image. The monarchy's future depends on self-reflection and meaningful trauma. The House of Windsor must adapt or risk being broken by the winds of change. Family plagued by scandal. Cracks in the facade of unity. The royal family's image is a symbol of stability, has been tarnished by scandals. The Duke of York's association with Jeffrey Epstein and subsequent allegations have cast a long shadow. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex's departure and their interview with Oprah Winfrey exposed internal issues. These scandals have eroded public trust and confidence in the monarchy. The Queen's decision to strip the Duke of York of his titles highlighted deep family divisions. The monarchy's ability to adapt to changing values is in question. The Harry and Meghan effect. A seismic rift and its aftermath. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's departure ignited a global media frenzy. Their decision exposed deep fissures within the House of Windsor. Their interview with Oprah Winfrey further fueled controversy. The couple's willingness to speak out resonated with many. The fallout has forced the royal family to confront uncomfortable truths, but its response to this crisis will shape its future. Commonwealth divided. Waning influence on the global stage. The British monarchy's role as head of the Commonwealth faces increasing scrutiny. The legacy of colonialism has cast a long shadow over the Commonwealth. Several Caribbean nations have signalled their intention to become republics. The monarchy's waning influence is compounded by a lack of clarity about its future role. The Queen's death and King Charles III's accession has reignited debates. The monarchy's future as head of the Commonwealth depends on addressing colonialism's legacy and engaging in meaningful dialogue. Emphasis on meaningful dialogue. The price of tradition. Scrutiny of royal finances and accountability. The British monarchy's financial dealings face increasing scrutiny. The sovereign grant drawn from the Crown estate funds the monarchy's official duties. Critics argue the true cost of the monarchy is far higher and opaque. Controversies over royal finances have fueled the debate. The monarchy's future depends on embracing financial transparency and accountability. The media's glare. Shaping public perception in the digital age. The British monarchy's relationship with the media is complex and challenging. The rise of social media and the 24-hour news cycle have created an unforgiving media landscape. The royal family uses social media to engage with a wide audience. Intense media scrutiny has made it difficult for the monarchy to control its narrative. Navigating this media landscape is crucial to the monarchy's survival. Balancing traditions, apparency and authenticity is an ongoing challenge, in one gauging the public mood. A nation divided. Public opinion on the British monarchy is increasingly divided. Recent polls show waning support, especially among the younger generations. The Queen's death and King Charles III's succession have amplified these divisions. Supporters cite historical significance and national unity. Detractors argue the monarchy is outdated and undemocratic. The monarchy's future hinges on public opinion addressing transparency and accountability is crucial. Generational divide in attitudes towards the British monarchy is growing. Older generations view the monarchy more favourably. Younger generations question its relevance and legitimacy. The monarchy represents inherited privilege and inequality to many young people. Changing social values drive this generational shift. The monarchy must connect with younger generations to survive. Failure to do so could result in a gradual erosion of public support. Despite the growing chorus of criticism and the generational divide in attitudes, the British monarchy continues to command a significant degree of support, particularly among the older generation. What accounts for this? Why, in an era often characterised by rejection of tradition and a thirst for modernity, does the monarchy retain its hold on the hearts and minds of so many? The answer lies partly in the monarchy's deep roots in British history and culture. For centuries, the monarchy has been intertwined with the nation's sense of identity, its stories and its myths. The crown jewels, housed in the Tower of London, are not merely glittering baubles, but tangible symbols of a shared cost, evoking a sense of awe and wonder that transcends generations. Furthermore, the monarchy provides a sense of continuity and stability in a world often characterised by rapid change and uncertainty. The Queen's reign, spanning 7 decades and witnessing profound social, political and technological transformations, provided a reassuring constant, a symbol of steadfastness in an ever-shifting landscape. Her passing, while marking the end of an era, has also served to reinforce the monarchy's enduring appeal as a source of comfort and tradition. In a world grappling with unprecedented challenges, for many, the monarchy also represents a connection to a bygone era of grandeur, elegance, and national pride. The royal weddings, the state banquets, the trooping of the colour ceremony, these events, with their dazzling displays of pomp and pageantry, offer a welcome escape from the mundane realities of everyday life, providing a fleeting glimpse into a world of fairy tale, romance, and historical splendour, while nostalgia, a yearning for stability, and an appreciation for tradition undoubtedly play a role in shaping public support for the monarchy. It would be simplistic to dismiss modern monarchies as merely sentimental traditionalist, clinging to a romanticised past. the motivations behind continued support for the monarchy are complex, nuanced, and often rooted in a pragmatic assessment of the institution's perceived benefit. Many monarchies to argue that the monarchy provides a valuable service as a non-political head of state. Let me just say here that particularly in those last few paragraphs, I personally don't agree with many of the points made. I also don't personally believe that the public's opinion is quite in the, if you like, quantities referred to or hinted at in many of the statements made. I do agree in terms of the older population, and that is where the majority of the support comes from, but they still only account for about a third of the population of the UK. And definitely in terms of younger people, 25 and below, there is very, very limited support for a monarchy. And those in between either have no interest, no opinion either way, or can take it or leave it. They're really not that concerned. There are other priorities that concern them in life from day to day. So I don't think it's quite as romanticised for as many people as implied. But, it all depends on which poll they've looked at, or which polls they have looked at, which newspapers they read, that kind of thing, and also the daily onslaught by mainstream media in the UK, all of whom, and I mean all of whom, follow a particular agreed line of argument. And so if people are only digesting news, or most of their digestion of news is from mainstream media, whether that be printed or televised, in general, they are getting the same message every day, particularly daytime TV, so it's hours and hours of it. And I would, from my own personal point of view, regard that as brainwashing. Other people would, or some people would disagree with that. But the result is the same. If you are taking that kind of news on board every day, there comes a point where people start to believe it and think it must be true. It's on the news, it's on every day. Different programmes are saying the same thing. Different presenters are saying the same thing. Therefore, it must be so. My view is that the younger generation are not brainwashed in that way. Certainly do not sit and watch hours of daytime TV, and definitely not news programmes, because regardless of which presenter is presenting news, they're presenting the news that they want the public to hear. And there's lots more that they don't talk about. And I don't believe that the younger generation listen or take much notice of those type of media outlets, and very much are involved in social media on a wider range of platforms than older generations are pursuing. And therefore I do think that monarchies globally, not just the UK, they're already on the decline, and I see that continuing. I won't be around to see in a century's time whether that's the case, but I, at this stage, feel quite confident the decline will continue. And I personally don't believe that the UK monarchy will last as long as it believes. They're there at the moment because of support by the establishment, in inverted commas. That's majority support, because all of those that are within that category benefit from having each of their roles remain the same. But I just throw that in because as I've been going through research notes and reading some of these paragraphs again, it needed to be said. Yeah, that's one point of view. It's a point of view that's in several outlets, but that doesn't make it so. This next few lines refers to monarchs in the UK not being political and sort of standing back from the day-to-day politics that goes on. Again, I'm reading this because it's part of information that's out there, but I personally don't agree with that, and I do think the monarch is political. I think the whole family, or certain members more so than others, are political, but they just don't do it in front of camera, and they don't necessarily talk about it and describe it in that way. But this is the official version of what a monarch should be. Therefore, it's assumed that that is what is happening at the moment. A unifying figure who transcends the fray of partisan politics. In an era of increasing political polarisation, the monarch, bound by convention to remain above the political fray as a symbol of national unity, and so a rallying point for citizens of all political persuasions. Furthermore, monarchists often point to the economic benefits of the monarchy, particularly its contribution to tourism. Again, there have been previous podcasts, not just on this channel, which goes into more detail about contribution to tourism. And certainly one of the ones that we did on Sussex Global UK looked at tourism in a number of countries, but France was one that was very, very high profile in terms of having no royal family, having no buildings occupied by royal family, no monarchy and all of that. They got rid of that, they came to their senses and got rid of that a long time ago. And the tourism for France, both from people that live within France and parts of Europe, as well as visitors who come from afar, far outweighs, not just by a small amount, far outweighs in terms of contribution to France's economy, way, way above the UK. There are certain buildings that attract tourists to the UK, but in terms of what contributions come into the country as a result of having a royal family, France would beg to differ. And like I say, the figures are not anywhere even close to one another. France is way, way beyond anything that the UK has ever managed to bring in on tourism, and UK does well on tourism. So just so that gives you an idea of how France is doing, and they do not have a monarchy. But in many publications, this is the line that is currently quoted. No doubt it was probably correct at the time, but it definitely has not been this way in recent years. The royal palaces, with their historical significance and architectural grandeur, attract millions of visitors each year, generating significant revenue. With the UK economy, royal weddings, jubilees, and other high-profile events also provide a substantial boost to the tourism industry, showcasing British culture and heritage to a global audience. Beyond these tangible benefits, many monarchists believe that the monarchy played an important role in upholding British values and traditions, promoting philanthropy and charitable giving, and enhancing the nation's soft power and global standing. They argue that the monarchy, with its global reach and historical prestige provides a unique platform for promoting British interests and values on the world stage. A question of value, weighing the costs and benefits. The debate over the British monarchy's future involves a cost-benefit analysis. Is the institution, with its inherent inequalities and reliance on public funds, worth the expense? Do the perceived benefits outweigh the costs of maintaining this centuries-old tradition? Critics argue the monarchy is a drain on the public purse, pointing to the sovereign grant. Monarchists counter that the institution generates more revenue than it costs. They point to the Crown estate as the primary source of funding. Monarchists argue the monarchy provides a significant return on investment through tourism and charitable work. Can the monarchy stem the tide? The British monarchy stands at a crossroads, facing challenges that threaten its public support. Generational divides, recent scandals, and the scrutiny of royal finances contribute to this. The monarchy must adapt to changing values and embrace meaningful change. Clinging to tradition will hasten its decline. To remain relevant, it must connect with younger generations. Addressing the legacy of colonialism and supporting reconciliation is crucial. The future of British monarchy remains uncertain. Only time will tell if it can adapt to meet these challenges. How the establishment underpins the monarchy. The British monarchy relies on a complex network of support known as the establishment. This informal alliance of powerful individuals and institutions maintains the monarchy's position and public image. Understanding this role is essential to grasping the monarchy. Survival. The establishment comprises diverse actors with a common goal: preserving the status quo. This includes the aristocracy, political elite, civil service, judiciary, and influential figures in finance, media, and industry. Their support stems from a belief in tradition stability and the monarchy's role as a symbol of national unity. Web of influence: political, media, and economic power players. The establishment's influence on the monarchy operates across multiple spheres of encompassing political, media, and economic domains. Within the political realm, the monarchy benefits from a long-standing relationship with the government of the day, enshrined in the principle of a constitutional monarchy. While the monarch's powers are largely ceremonial and symbolic, their influence should not be understated. The monarch retains the right to advise, encourage, and warn the Prime Minister, providing a unique and confidential sounding board for the head of government. The sovereign's weekly audiences with the Prime Minister are shrouded in secrecy, ensuring that the monarch's views and perspectives heard at the highest levels of government. Beyond these private interactions, the establishment's political influence manifests itself in the passage of legislation that benefits the monarchy, such as the Sovereign Grant Act of 2011, which reformed the system of royal finances. The monarchy also benefits from the support of a significant number of members of Parliament, who are staunch monitors and who actively defend the institution's interests within the political arena in the media sphere. The establishment wields considerable influence, shaping public perception of the monarchy through a combination of overt and subtle means. The British media, particularly the tabloid press, has long had a complex and often symbiotic relationship with the royal family. While the monarchy relies on the media to promote its activities, celebrate its milestones, and project its image to a wider audience, it is also acutely aware of the media's power to scrutinise, criticise, and even damage its reputation. Safeguarding the narrative. Controlling the message, shaping perception, the establishment, through its connections within the media industry, often plays a crucial role in managing the flow of information about the monarchy, attempting to control the narrative and shape public perception in a favourable light. This can involve planting positive stories about the royal family's charitable work, downplaying or suppressing negative coverage of royal scandals, and promoting a generally deferential and respectful tone in reporting. Yes, however, this control over the media narrative is not absolute. The rise of social media, the 24-hour news cycle, and the proliferation of online platforms have made it increasingly difficult for the establishment to contain and manage the flow of information about the monarchy. The public is now bombarded with a constant stream of news, gossip, and opinion about the royal family, from multitudes of sources, making it harder than ever to shape a singular, cohesive narrative. Furthermore, the monarchy's attempts to control its own message through carefully curated social media accounts and official statements have sometimes backfired, particularly when those efforts have been perceived as out of touch or tone deaf in the face of public criticism or scrutiny. The establishment's efforts to safeguard mode. The monarchy's image in the digital age require a delicate balancing act, maintaining a sense of mystique and exclusivity, while also engaging authentically and transparently with the public. That is increasingly sceptical of traditional hierarchy and demanding greater accountability from those in positions of power and privilege. The monarchy as a tool. Advancing interests on the world stage, the establishment recognises the monarchy's enduring value as a tool for advancing British interests on the world stage. The monarchy's global reach, its historical prestige, and its symbolic association with British culture and values make it a powerful asset in promoting the UK soft power abroad. Royal visits to foreign countries, often orchestrated with the support of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, designed to strengthen relationships, foster trade ties, and enhance the UK's international standing. The monarchy's global appeal also extends to the realm of tourism. The royal palaces, historical sites associated with the royal family, and events such as royal weddings and jubilees attract millions of visitors to the UK each year, generating billions of pounds in revenue for the British economy. The establishment, recognising the economic significance of royal tourism, actively promotes the UK as a destination for those seeking to experience the allure and grandeur of the monarchy. However, the monarchy's role in promoting British interests abroad is not without its critics. Some argue that the monarchy's association with colonialism and its continued position as head of the Commonwealth perpetuate and neo-colonial mindset and hinder the UK's ability to engage with the world on an equal footing. The establishment's efforts to leverage the monarchy's global appeal for economic and diplomatic gain must navigate these sensitivities, acknowledge the complexities of the UK's historical legacy, symbiotic relationship, mutual dependence, and the price of support. The monarchy's dependence on the establishment necessitates a degree of compliance and conformity. To maintain the establishment's support, the monarchy must often temper its actions and pronouncements, avoiding any behaviour or statements that might alienate its powerful patron. This can create a tension. The monarchy's desire to remain relevant and connect with the changing society, and its need to appease the more conservative elements within the establishment's influence can manifest itself in subtle ways, shaping the monarchy's decisions regarding everything from its public engagements and charitable endeavours to its stance on social and political issues. The monarchy, acutely aware of the importance of maintaining the establishment's favour, must carefully calibrate its actions to avoid jeopardising this crucial support. This delicate balancing act is becoming increasingly difficult in the 21st century as the monarchy faces mounting pressure to modernise, adapt to changing social values, and demonstrate its relevance to a more diverse and egalitarian society. The establishment's support, while essential for the monarchy, survival can also be a constraint, limiting its ability to evolve and connect with the public that is increasingly questioning the legitimacy of unelected power and inherited privilege. Of the future of the British monarchy may well depend on its ability to navigate this complex web of interdependence, balancing its reliance on the establishment's support with its need to evolve and resonate with the changing world. The House of Windsor at the crossroads, navigating the path ahead. The British monarchy is steeped in history, facing the pivotal juncture amidst internal and external pressures. The House of Windsor must navigate a path forward in a vastly different world. The Crown's allure must contend with modern unity, Republican sentiment, and a fragmented global landscape. The challenges are multifaceted and complex. Younger demographics show less enthusiasm for the monarchy. The tradition holds less sway over a generation accustomed to rapid change. The monarchy's relevance hinges on bridging this generational gap. They must also grapple with its colonial past. The legacy of the British Empire casts a long shadow. Reconciling this history is crucial for the monarchy's survival. Ignoring colonialism risks alienating a significant global population. The House of Windsor must balance tradition and change to determine its fate. A gradual potential of scenarios. All the dramatic downfall. Predicting the future of the British monarchy is challenging. We can remove from our minds potential scenarios from a gradual fade into irrelevance to a dramatic downfall. One scenario involves a slow decline in relevance and public support. The transition to a new monarch could lead to heightened scrutiny and diminished deference. A generational divide in support could widen, leading to a decline in popularity. A sudden event could trigger a crisis, leading to rapid decline or abolition. Major scandals or constitutional crises could fuel Republican sentiment. Republic on the horizon, reimagining Britain's identity. The prospect of a British Republic has gained traction, questioning the monarchy's relevance in the 21st century. Generational shifts and royal scandals have tarnished the institution's image. The global trend towards republicanism suggests the British Crown may not be immune to change. The debate is framed as tradition versus modernity, privilege versus democracy. It's a reflection on national identity, values and aspirations, opponents argue. The monarchy provides stability and unity. It enhances Britain's soft power and international standing. The global twilight of monarchies, a sign of things to come. The British monarchy's current predicament is not an isolated phenomenon. Worldwide based social, political and economic challenges. The twilight of monarchies appears to be upon us, with fewer countries ruled by monarchs over the past century. Factors include the rise of democracy, education, and global media. These trends empower citizens and erode hierarchies. Many former colonies choose republicanism post-independence. Even enduring monarchies have transformed, adapted into modern political landscapes. Constitutional monarchies are now the norm. As the British monarchy navigates the 21st century, grappling with internal challenges and external pressures, it is worth reflecting on its enduring legacy and evolving role in British society. The Crown, a symbol of power and tradition, has left an indelible mark on British history and culture. Its influence is seen in grand palaces and elaborate ceremonies, from the legal system to the values in its unwritten constitution. The monarchy's legacy is complex in terms of progress and injustice, benevolent leadership and oppressive rule. The British Empire, once a source of pride, now casts a long shadow. Its legacy, a reminder of darker chapters. As the monarchy confronts present challenges, it must acknowledge past mistakes, engage in dialogue with marginalised communities, and promote reconciliation, if that is at all possible. My opinion, I don't think that it's going to go the way that the establishment believes. These steps are crucial. The future role remains uncertain. Its fate in the hands of the British people. Can the Crown adapt to a diverse society, reconcile its legacy with responsibilities, and articulate a vision for future relevance? These questions will shape its trajectory, the British monarchy. It stands at a crossroads, its future far from certain. Its ability to adapt to the 21st century will determine its fate. The generational divide and dwindling reverence for tradition pose significant hurdles. the monarchy's relevance to younger generations remains in question. The future of the British monarchy hangs in the balance. The winds of change are sweeping across the globe, challenging established hierarchies and demanding greater transparency, accountability, and responsiveness from institutions. The British monarchy is not immune to these forces. Its survival hinges on its ability to adapt, to evolve, and to demonstrate its continued relevance in a world where tradition alone is no longer sufficient to command respect or allegiance. The monarchy must confront the generational divide that threatens its base of support. Engaging with younger demographics, understanding their concerns, and reflecting their values in its actions and pronouncements. This requires moving beyond symbolic gestures and embracing substantive reforms that address the concerns of those who view the institution as outdated and out of touch. Furthermore, the monarchy must reckon with the legacy of its past, particularly its role in colonialism and imperialism. Acknowledging past wrongs, it demands a commitment. This requires more than just to restorative justice, amplifying the voices of those who were marginalised and oppressed, and using its platform to advocate for a more equitable and just world. Transparency in its financial dealings, a willingness to relinquish outdated privileges, and a demonstrable commitment to social and environmental justice are not merely concessions to appease critics, but essential steps towards ensuring the monarchy's continued relevance in the 21st century. The alternative is a slow but steady decline into irrelevance, a gradual fading from the forefront of national consciousness until the monarchy becomes little more than an historical footnote. The British monarchy is a tapestry, one of them from threads of grandeur and depression of progress and stagnation. Its story is etched into history, its impact on British society undeniable. As we stand at this pivotal juncture, the monarchy's past is not merely a matter of historical record, but belongs to which it presents actions and future trajectory are judged. It's the British culture shaping national identity, and its enduring symbolic power are undeniable. However, these achievements cannot overshadow the darker aspects of its history. The exploitation of colonialism, the perpetuation of inequality, and the silencing of dissenting voices. The monarchy's ability to reckon with its past, to acknowledge its complicity in historical wrongs, and to demonstrate a genuine commitment to reconciliation and repair will be a crucial factor in shaping its legacy. Failing to do so risks tainting its future. Perpetuating the perception of an institution clinging to a romanticised past, while remaining blind to the very real consequences of its actions. The British monarchy stands at a crossroads. The path it chooses to take, the choices it makes, and the actions it takes will determine not only its own fate, but also its place in history. Will it rise to the challenge of the 21st century, embracing change? Or will it cling to the vestiges of its past, ultimately succumbing to the winds of change that are reshaping the world around it? Only time will tell. That is the end of this week's podcast. I hope you found it of interest. I also hope that you save the article and look at it from time to time and judge for yourselves over the coming years where UK monarchy and the establishment have managed to tick any boxes of the main points discussed here and elsewhere, I am sure, and how many of them they chose to ignore. And let's see how long the UK monarchy lasts. As I said earlier on in this podcast, I believe in time, certainly within the next century, all monarchies will not exist, just like the vast majority have already disappeared from the landscape. But in terms of those that are left, the few that are left, let's see how long they last, and let's see, or rather, future generations will see how the UK fared. As per usual, I look forward to your comments over the next few days. Got that as feedback for the channel. And yeah, let's see how things go, certainly in the next 12 months or so, in terms of our monarchy here in the UK. So, as per usual, it's goodbye from me. Goodbye from Ivy. Speak to you soon. Bye.